Yeah, I would like to show you how we approach innovation and venture building. We are doing this since our company exists, but we are really actively doing this, I think, for the last 5-6 years, when I started this together with one of my colleagues. I would like to show you what probably makes Drees Sommer a little bit special and why there is probably much pressure in really innovation and venture building within our company. So first of all, I would like to show you a little bit, probably none of you have heard of Drees Sommer before, so I would like to show you a little bit who we are, what we do, how we approach innovation to overcome the challenges that are on the market at the moment, and then share some ideas, what we figured out over the last 5-6 years, what works well, and what we try to improve at the moment to do this more effectively. First of all, Drees Sommer. We are an organization with roughly 6,000 employees, aiming for 720 million euro, roughly the same in US dollar, revenue this year. And we are a consultant company focusing on, as you can read here, owner representative, construction management, design engineering, circular economy, and real estate consulting. And we are on the market for 50 years throughout Europe. And what probably makes us a little bit special, as I said earlier, is that we are owned by 40 partners. So I'm one of these managing partners, and we own the company. So when we have a discussion within the company on investing in innovation and stuff like that, I always have to convince 39 other partners, what makes it quite complicated sometimes. But as I said, it's also a pressure that the company is around in 10, 20, 30 years because these partners own the company. Yeah? So that's quite a challenge, but that's quite interesting. And that leads to interesting discussions and investments. So for example, we invested in EPEA. That's one of the inventors of cradle-to-cradle principle in Europe. So we have acquired them 5 years ago. Nothing to do with construction at that time. 100 chemists that just looked into how could you make sneakers from Adidas cradle to cradle. Yeah? So how can you make them that you can throw them later on into the garbage and they just go back into nature. And we brought them in the company and really started working together with them on construction stuff, and they're making some really interesting stuff right now. Just some projects so that you can imagine what we do. We do Frankfurt Airport at the moment. So the ones of you probably have been there. You recognize that there is a big construction going on the south side of Frankfurt Airport. Biggest construction site in Europe, a private construction site in Europe, and we do their own representative project management, construction management, lean construction, and some part of the engineering. So this is one project. Another one would be a big semiconductor factory that we recently finished for Bosch in Dresden. And a third project I brought here is the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart. It's a really nice museum in Stuttgart for Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz built this museum because the car was invented in Stuttgart. I probably know this. And so Mercedes-Benz started to show how they invented the car and where we are today with mobility. And not only this museum is in Stuttgart. If you come to Stuttgart once, there's a second really nice car museum, the Porsche Museum, because Porsche is also in Stuttgart headquarters. And we also did this one, so it's 2 reasons to come to Stuttgart besides Drees Sommer. Okay, so just as a rough introduction, that's who we are. And as I said, what makes us special probably is we are really owned by these partners, and all the decision has to be made by these 40 partners. Yeah? And we talked about a lot of about AI today. Yeah? So, and you can hear this in the discussion. So there's a lot of new trends in technology, especially AI, that will change the way how we do projects. And I just copied some of the recent news that you can find online about AI. And so I guess it will totally change the way how we do work. We saw some of the examples today, and this is not just affecting us as Drees Sommer. I think it's really affecting the whole industry. So we had a look into other technologies and what will really change the industry. We found this at the Future Today Institute. I think it's really interesting to look at. And I highlighted two of this here, construction engineering and real estate, because these are the two sectors where we're working on. And what's really special here, I think, is that you can see that a lot of these, and by the way, long term, so this red means in 5 years' time, that a lot of these trends and technologies are here already, and they're really affecting each other. So AI is affecting, for example, drones and robots, VR, and we talked about a lot of this stuff today, but this is really coming into the industry, and we see a lot of examples in this different areas. What's really special, I think, and that's what we talk a lot about within our company over the last years, we think, and we talked about this over lunch, that the consulting services will eventually, the market will shrink, probably based on AI. Because if you think about what was just on the other slide, that more and more day-to-day repetitive work that we do will be automated, then selling people by man-hour won't be the future business model. But that's the business model that we have right now. So we came up with the solution that we have to do something about this business model and find out what we can do for the future. So to make Drees Sommer as valuable as it is right now, even in 10 and 20 years. So we said we have to put our know-how somehow into software solutions, into AI solutions that we can offer to the market, and change our business model that we have by creating the solutions, by creating new ventures to overcome this, the market that we are on at the moment is probably shrinking over the next years. So how did we do this? We looked into this book that I can highly recommend. It's a professor here from, I think from Stanford, that wrote the book together with another one. And it's called Lead and Disrupt and the Innovation Dilemma. It really helped us to understand what is really essential about innovation in an existing company with disruptive approaches for the existing business model. And all the stuff that you can find in the book, we had over the last 5 to 6 years, especially convincing colleagues that it's more important to invest into new innovative stuff instead of using the money in existing business models that we have to probably buy another company in another country, or to use the profit to give the profit at the end of the year to the partners that own the company. So it's quite complicated, and it's exactly described in this book. And it's really interesting to see all this, what you can read in the book. That's what we discovered, to really convince the colleagues that you can leverage the cash cow that you have right now to come up with new business models, but you have to be really structured in your approach to constantly see which are new innovations that you can use to come up with new business models, to come up with new digital business models. And so we used these ideas in the book to build up the innovation center that I'm representing here today. And we used this idea of exploit and explore. So exploit the current cash cow and the current business model that you have to explore new fields and explore new ventures for the future of your company. So what we did is we said, okay, we are not a university, so we don't do really R&D. We focus on using R&D and new technologies in our existing business model. So cash cow, as I said, so this is on the lower right. So how can we use new ideas, new startups, new technologies in our current services that we offer? Then how can we use this also to transfer the company, the ideas, the people in the company, to transfer the culture and the organization into a digital company, into a digital organization, creating new ideas, new business models. So this is the second field, so leadership. And then using all this and the new technologies to create new ventures and to create new business model, what's on the upper left side in the Explore field. And that's the way how we set up the Innovation Center. So the Innovation Center, we are 40 people in the core team in these 3 fields, and then we have more than 100 people in the startups and ventures that we started already. And in these fields, as I said, first one is innovation leadership. So for example, we created an ecosystem called Creators that we use to bring together innovative companies in Germany. And not only just innovative companies in the real estate sector, it could be any innovative company, corporation, big companies that want to do something new, that follow the same path that we are following, and to share ideas, to share things that they can see and that they developed and so on. But as I said, we also use this to bring the people on board within Drees Sommer and to leverage the know-how that we have to create new ideas and new business models. Second is the core business. As I said, it's a digital transformation of the core business, how we can leverage the cash cow to create the third part, the new ventures and the innovation stuff that we do there to create really new digital business models. And I will show you some examples in a minute. So these are the 3 main areas in the Innovation Center. And what's really beneficial is that Drees Sommer is in the core, as always, it was this innovative company. So in our DNA, there are some things that really helped us because Drees Sommer is organized more like small speedboats than one big tanker. And what we are really having in our DNA is entrepreneurship, and in German we would say machen dürfen, meaning you can really create. So that's in the DNA of everyone, in the core principles of the company that really helped us creating this innovation center and this structure. What we also did is we created in the beginning, already 5 years ago, scenarios as a foresight to use them internally, but also on the market to explain what we think the future will look like. So we created these 10 scenarios to say, okay, how will the real estate and construction industry look like in the future? And it's a PDF you can download. If you go on the website from Drees Sommer, you can download that. And it's described in 10 scenarios what we think what the real estate and construction industry will look like. And that's really interesting to discuss this with colleagues, with clients, with also competitors, and to really discuss this and see if we share all the same ideas. The 3 or 4 main parts in there that we also put in the focus at the moment is AI, VR and AR, it's circularity and BIM, and sustainability and ESG. Yeah, so these are the main topics that we have. Looking into them really quickly, so topic number 1 is climate positive buildings and recyclability. As I said earlier with IPEA, we think that we not just have to create buildings that are climate neutral, but really climate positive to give something back to the climate. Then transforming the energy and industry sector, then smart cities and mobility, so how buildings can interact with the city and with mobility, and there's a whole story around that. Then there is a story around reusability and multi-use and adaptability of buildings, yeah, so how we can build buildings that we cannot just use once in the beginning, or it's built just for the first use, but it can be adapted, and this adaptation is built into design. Then we have the open source building catastrophe, so that the building knows everything that's happened with the building, and that you get like a book with all the information, an online information system. That's an idea. Then click and deliver, it's basically AI in design. Then we have the autonomous construction side. We heard about that already something today. And then the self-organized property management, the business model in the virtual world, and the vision number 10 is always that it will probably be not that way, but it could be a possible outcome. So everything will probably change and will be different than what we have in mind here. But yeah, we think it's important to have this foresight to really discuss about that with colleagues and with also the market. Oops, sorry, wrong direction. I promised you to show you some of the startups that we created over the years, and I will go into detail in 3. As I said, there are more than 100 people employed by these startups, focusing on these 10 scenarios, because we also use these scenarios to create an investment idea. So we believe in what we have written there to say, like, okay, these are the investment ideas that we will follow, that we will create our ventures. And one of the ventures I would like to show you is LCM Digital. So it's about lean construction and lean construction in a software solution for construction sites. So all the 3 construction sites that I showed you in the beginning, Frankfurt Airport, the semiconductor factory, but also the museum, have been done with LCM Digital. So LCM Digital is, for example, running in Frankfurt Airport, and it's really interesting to see how 5,500 employees on the construction site working every day with the software solution, with this app that you can see there, and reporting back in the evening what they have done over the day, and really tracking the progress in the system. So it's a scheduling system based on lean methodology. It's a production management system, and we just currently or recently got an investment that's hopefully signed next week to internationally scale LCM Digital. And we also started this year a big project here in California. So I guess it's quite a successful startup. We have 35 employees at the moment within LCM Digital. So it's one of the successful startups that we have. We had also failures, but this one is one of the successfuls. We create as a second startup that we have. And we create is looking into the process of if you want to rent a new office. There should be a video that could be played here. The idea is, if at least in Germany, if you order a new car, you can go online, get in a configuration system, and you can change the color of the car, and you can change the style and stuff like that. So the question was, why is this not able to be done in a design process also? Why as a new, if I want to have a new office, why can't I just go in online and just do this? And that's exactly what you can do here in the system. So you can go there, you can change the walls, you can change the different furniture. You can look out of the window really at where you are. So you can look, if in the 5th floor, you can look over the next building, or you have to go to 6th floor. And it's an easy tool that's used to streamline the process of renting out office spaces. But at the end, you can also get your detailed documents with a calculation, with a carbon footprint, and so on and so on. Yeah, so it's another startup, really successful, that we use, as I said, as a configuration system, and it's used in the German market, European market for configuring office spaces. And a third startup, that's a company that we bought in Sofia. So it's not only startups that we started, but we brought them together with EPEA, this circularity cradle-to-cradle startup. And here the idea is, how do we bring cradle-to-cradle and sustainability into BIM, so that you can start designing in BIM with sustainable products, first generic products, so a generic wall with this and this cradle-to-cradle sustainability information, and then later on find products online in the database that fulfill these standards that you have designed with, and that you have the chance always, as you can see here, sorry it's in German, but that you can click on a button and calculate the circularity, so cradle-to-cradle part in your building, or you calculate the carbon footprint of your building in design at any given time. As I said, first with generic products, and then later on with real products. And with the real products, you can see down there with this green and orange and red, you can also see if they are better or worse than what you have chosen as generic product. So that's also a successful startup that we have launched on the market. Yeah. So just to give you an idea, what are the startups and the ideas that we have. But as I said, and I promised you to give you also an insight into what is probably what went good or what went wrong or what was really complex and complicated to achieve. So we thought it would be much easier to give these startups what we call a benefit to really be better than the startups on the market. Yeah, probably we can't equip them with the same money that they would get from a big VC, but we can give them a lot of market insight. We can give them a lot of contacts to projects, to potential clients, to the market. And if it's an AI startup, we can also give them a lot of data. But it's not that easy as we thought in the beginning. So if you tell someone to say like, oh, we are approaching your client to present this and this or to discuss this and this, we face that they say, oh, not my client, please, can you take someone else? Not my client, because if you've mixed this up, I probably lose this client. So it's not that easy as you probably would think to really get the clients, the contacts and the projects to start new stuff. So that was one of the findings that we had. We thought in the beginning it would be much more easy to do this. Then, on the other hand, some of these startups we also used internally. So for example, Alcim Digital, as I said, is used in Frankfurt Airport. But we offer this on the market for all our competitors, for everyone. And then not overwhelming the startup with all these internal requirements and ideas to say like that has to work this way, and the discussions between the startup to say like, hey, the market wants this, but you want that, and what's the best way? Is it better to put in the requirements from Frankfurt Airport, huge project, or is it better to put in the requirements in the system that give you more contracts, new clients out on the market, and to compete against the other startups and ventures that are out on the market? So that's a big thing also. That's not too easy. As I said earlier, also discussing how much you put into these new ventures, these new ideas. So having the right amount of budget for these new ventures compared to investment in the existing cash cow and existing business model. That's also something that's quite complicated. So we struggled with this, but the biggest struggle we had is that we are all engineers. So we are civil engineers, and when you start something like that, you really love what you do. And then telling someone to say like, yes, it's a great software and it's a great idea that you had there, but there is no market for that. Or telling him to say, there is a market probably, but it's so hard to start, strong, it's so complicated to really start this. So we probably better put the money into something else. That was really the hardest part. So really finding the best ideas, the best solutions, because we all have perfect ideas, we have great ideas and innovations, but finding the right ones that we want to invest in, because money is limited, that was really the most complicated out of these. So finally, we found that corporate governance is something completely different to the innovation governance, and as it's shown here in the picture, it's all about really giving these startups a protection in the beginning, the money they need, the know-how they need. As I said, not so easy to give them access to projects, to clients, and so on. To help them really make the right decision, but let them make decision on their own. Yeah, so don't tell them you have to do this because Frankfurt Airport needs that. But let them make the right decision to compete with the other startups on the market. So that's really something that's important. Finally, as I said, for us, the two findings that we had is, or what we will do differently in the future. We have, over the last 2 years, now built up a really strong venture building team that we got from a venture building company and acquired a whole team. That we overcome this point that I made earlier, where we have great ideas, we love our ideas, but we just, let's go on for 1 more month. Probably we will find someone to use this on the market. Let's go 1 more months. And the venture building team is really, really strict on that. So on every gate review, the startups that we start have to show the venture building team, why should we invest in you? Even if it's a corporate startup, if it's 100% owned by us, why should we invest in the next phase? And we put also money on these phases to say, okay, why should we invest the next 100,000 euros in what you are doing? Show us, we help you with everything you need, but show us why we should do this. Yeah? So that's really something that in the last year, we really strongly followed this path to with the gate reviews, with this venture building, and really looking into the market in the beginning and see if there is a market and how easy the market is to be addressed. And not saying, yes, I think there is a market. We really are doing interviews with potential clients, showing them the solution. So really following this venture building idea. And what we're working on right now is we are creating a dedicated venture fund to have the money that's there over the next 10 years so that we don't have to discuss this because at least in Germany at the moment, real estate is not an easy sector. So we have a downturn there. And so there is a really discussion going on. Do we really have to need to invest into this? How much do we need to have to invest into this and so on? So we said, okay, we need dedicated funds, saved dedicated funds that we say, okay, this is the money that we will use for the future of our company. And as I said, all these 39 colleagues of mine, we should have the interest of really investing into this because we want that Drees Sommer is around also in 10 and 20 years. We separate the structure at the moment, putting it in an own complete structure as an own company. And set up the governance once again to say like these are the rules, especially getting the information out of Drees Sommer, the contacts and so on, as I said, that we need to be successful. And this is something, these 3 points we developed together with 10 out of these 40 partners at the moment as a core team. To agree this in a big meeting in autumn with the rest of these 40, so that we say, okay, if we want to save the future of our company, we really have to do this and really have to follow the path that we have started and get better in what we do. Okay, I hope that this was an interesting insight on our venture building journey that we had over the last 5 to 6 years, or as I said, the last 50 years, how long Drees Sommer is around, but really actively over the last 5 to 6 years. Thanks.